So once we began to get some kind of structure into the day and we had some kind of routine, and we then began to kind of say, right, let's sort everything out. Let's have everything out of every cupboard, every key, every bloody door, let's just know where we are regards things. And then, of course, Sammy Agwis kept going on about, we need to do the bloody stock take, chef. And, oh, please. Oh, sorry, my accents are terrible. But it was, God, I know me. And then I think it was a case of saying to Nick and to Alec and to Janet and the rest of the guys. And, of course, you still had some of the chefs left from the old one who didn't say a lot and went around grinning. And you always began to think, there's some more tricks, or they've left us some surprises, which in those days was typical. When a exec or head chef left a business, he would then leave some horrible things for the next person. It was always a bit like that. So I wanted to have less rules, more freedom, and I wanted to be able to get to a space where we dealt with the business, but we also did it in a global fashion where we were clean, we were tidy, we had good food, and we were smart, and financially we were good. And this thing was, my words now, sustainable, but it worked, and not just a place that did great food and was a pigsty or vice versa. I remember one afternoon we kind of all ran up to McDonald's, and I think Alec and I ran ahead of Nick. We ran into McDonald's the first time I've ever been. Actually, I went there in the morning and had a McDonald's. Didn't know what to do because I kind of walked in. There's big signs and people saying, "Hey, good morning. Can I help you here?" It's like, wow, this is not like Yorkshire. And I had a McDonald's, which I thought was amazing, out this funny box thing and a burger. And then Alec and I ran up there, I think at 3 o'clock, and then ran in and ordered 20 things. And then as Nick walked in, with his, "Are you well? Are you well?" We then ran out and went back to the kitchen, carried on work, and Nick was left to deal with this kind of, massive order of McDonald's, which we thought was highly amusing. So we had humour, we had a friendship, we had an element of messing about away from work, but we were concentrating. And it was amazing how these kind of gaggle of young people who didn't know what they were doing, but probably did in some ways, including Nick, and with his maturity and how sensible he was, and Alec, and how smart and intuitive that guy was. And then with Sammy sitting down, just grinning at you, saying, "Oh, we need to do the stock take." Sorry, it sounds like an Indian. But it's a case of, for God's sake, right, take this man out now, and we're going to get the bloody stock take done. So I'm thinking, well, how are we going to do this? Midnight? So no, we decided to come in at 5:30 in the morning. And that was interesting, actually. Worked where the keys were kept, what was left unlocked, what went missing from last night, and actually do the bloody stock take. So we literally... He had a clipboard, and we didn't have proper stock sheets, but we did, but they were all a bit mysterious. So then he took me on the journey of saying, this is what you need to be looking for, because it's like having piles of money on shelves. There's no bloody difference. And we need to understand the worth of the stock. If we need to start throwing stuff out or bringing items to other people's attention, now's the time to do it, because the chef's he hasn't been left that long. So we started off in the freezer, and the freezer was massive, and it was full of all sorts of boxes. So we took a pen and some stickers so we could actually write, on boxes what things were. And, because date stamping back in the 80s was like, the only date stamping you did was, I think, when you went to a nightclub. And, you began to wonder what was all these boxes, and why were some of these boxes in the freezer, loads of them, full of newspapers.